Now, to finish this unit, we're going to be learning how to measure an angle. So I see an angle here, and I'm be like, oh, how do I measure this angle? Now, for that, we're going to use protractors. Now, a protractor, let me show you guys how a protractor looks like. It looks like half of a circle. It looks like this. Now, here, very, very important, the vertex, you guys can see that I have, let me use red, this corner right here. That's where we want to place the corner of the angle. So the vertex, that's why the protractor has the little dot there, because that's where we're going to be placing the vertex, the corner of our angle. And let's say I had an angle that went here and here. And let's assume those are straight segments, so that they're segments, so that assume they're straight. So I have an angle like that. So remember the vertex goes there. Now the protractor has numbers. So looking at my first segment, the one on the left, let me highlight it so you know which segment I'm looking at. I see where it crossed the protractor. What I'm going to do, if I'm going to see the numbers on the outside, you see how it starts with 0 on the left and it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, and there's in between. So there's 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, and it happens to be at 47. He crossed at 47. The number on the outside is 47, but on the inside, notice the numbers are bigger. There's 130. It's between 130 and 140. So counting from 130 to the left, I am at 133. Hmm, interesting. Now my other segment, I see crosses at, let's say it crosses at this segment. Let me do this segment better. Now the number on the outside is 132. But on the inside is the number 48. Huh, interesting. Now, the way we're going to measure this angle, the way we use this protractor, the way we're going to measure the angle, we're going to subtract our numbers. But I'm gonna for the numbers that we get from the protractor. However, I need you to use only outside numbers, so 47 and 132, or only inside numbers, which is 133 and 48. Only outside numbers or only inside numbers. So what do I mean with that? I can do either 132 minus 47, or I can do 133 minus 48. Okay? So either 132 minus 47. Notice I'm subtracting the outside numbers. Or 133 minus 48. Notice I'm subtracting the inside numbers. Now, which one do you do? It doesn't matter. In this case, it has to give you 85 on both questions. It's going to give you 85 on both, whichever one you use. So it doesn't matter which one. So let's actually, how are you going to see it on your homework? It's going to be like this. Let me practice a few like this. If I'm doing outside numbers, I see here it crosses at 66, and then here it crosses at 122. If I'm going to do outside numbers only. So then I will go 122 minus 66. Now, which one do I subtract? Is it 122 minus 66 or is it 66 minus 122? We want to deal with positives only, so it's the big number minus the small number. So 122 minus 66. Okay. Now, what's my answer here will be 56. This angle here it happens to be 56 degrees. Oh, actually, no, that's not 122. It's okay. We can make mistakes. that is actually 127. So this is not 56 degrees because I starting at 120, it seems like I counted seven more, right? So it's 127. All right, so what's 127 minus 66? 61 degrees. So this is 61 degrees. Okay, let's do it again. Let's take a look at this other one here. If I'm looking at the outside numbers, this happens to be 42, right? There's 42 more. Here's 140, 145, 146, 147. So I'm going to go 147 minus 42. And then I will subtract that. 147 minus 42 happens to be 105. So this angle is 105 degrees. Some of you might be asking, well, what about the inside numbers? Here, I see that it crossed at 138. And in here, I see that it crossed at 33. Okay, you want to use inside numbers? Subtract the inside numbers. 138 minus 33. And you should get 105. The idea is it doesn't matter if you use only outside numbers or only inside numbers. Just don't mix them. Another way you guys are going to see this, I might give it to you like this. I might give you, and then I will ask, give me the measurement. So that little M, and then looks like an angle. What I'm asking there is the measurement of angle COB. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect C with O and B in that order. So you guys see my angle. If I want to use only outside numbers, I see C is 115. I see B is 60. So for me to know that measurement, I'm going to go 115 minus 60. I want you guys not only to know how to use a protractor, but also how to read the angle that I'm giving you. Okay, well, what's 115 minus 60? I get 55. So this is 55 degrees. And lastly, well, for angles, AOD. So I'm going to connect A with O and D. So I'm talking about this angle. If I'm going to use outside numbers, I see that A crosses at 35 degrees and D crosses at 140. So for me to know that angle, I'm going to go 140 minus 35. And that gives me 105. Only outside numbers or only inside numbers? Okay. But then on our notes, I also see that we're going to be looking at segments. It says use a ruler to measure the length of each line segment, measure each segment in centimeters. Okay. Well, for a ruler, you take a look how a ruler looks like. A ruler, we can have inches. In this case, I count the spaces in between. So I want to count between 1 and 2. There's 8 spaces in my case. So this is 1. This one right here, it is 1 and 1/8. This one is 1 and 2/8. This one right here, it is 1 and 3/8, and so on and so forth. Inches tends to be in fractions. And to be honest, I don't want to deal with fractions. Instead, looking at the centimeters, I'm going to say here's 3. I'm going to look in between 3 and 4. There's going to be 10 spaces in between. So at 3 is just 3. The next one is going to be 3.1. The second one, 3.2, and then 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, all the way to 4. So segments, centimeters It's easier because we're dealing with decimals. So for your homework, you're going to be given something like this. I give you a ruler and I give you a measurement there. I see here it's between 2 and 3, right? So it's 2.2 because it's two spaces after the 2. The big number here, I'm going to call this 5.6 because it was 5.1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, point 6. So I see the measurements of my ruler, 2.2 and 5.6, and then I'm just going to subtract those two values. 5.6 minus 2.2 happens to be 3.4. Lastly, let me take a look at this one. This value right here is 1.6. Now this other value here, it might be, oh man, it's in between 6.2 and 6.3. Seems to be closer to 6.2, so I'm going to call this 6.2. For me to know this value, this space, I'm going to go 6.2 minus 1.6, and it happens to be 4.6. Pretty cool, huh? That's how we're going to measure it.